Inventory management, gaming's greatest challenge. Whether you're off adventuring or staying home and building a homestead, it's not about the slimes you kill or the friends you make, it's making sure the goo from those slimes and the gifts for those friends don't fill up your precious inventory slots. Now, that leads us to a question. Which character can carry the most? And then we stop ourselves and ask ourselves a better question. Which character from my Steam library can carry the most? Now, the first thing we have to do, naturally, is figure out my maximum carry limit. Video games calculate this in two distinct ways. The first of which is you cannot physically carry any more on your person or your bones will break and you'll die, also known as a full inventory. And the second is you are carrying too much to be able to run. You could stack more on you, but it's too much for you to run. Now, I would love to do the first method by almost breaking my bones by going to a gym and maxing out my deadlift, but unfortunately we live in July 2020, and I'm care too much about my personal health to even approach going to a gym right now. And of course, the second method I am going to test, and that is by filling up this camping bag I last used when I was 17 years old and in the Boy Scouts until I cannot run any longer. And I'm sure that'll be plenty funny.
So this is my camping pack. It is full of every weight in my house and also a weighted blanket. It is very heavy. I do not know how heavy it is yet though, because we need to test if I can run a run with it. So first of all, I have to put it on. Now this is the thing they don't tell you in Skyrim. When you get close to your carrying capacity, it is kind of a chore to get it on your body. Yeah, step one. Okay, that's better. Now it's on my hips. Let's go run outside. But now it's time for that $1 million question. Is this too much for me to be able to run? I'm so sorry, Bones. So, cursory test. I feel like it's not at the upper limit of what I can stand with, but it is at the upper limit of what I feel safe to stand with and to move with. Going down the hill does feel worse than going up the hill, because it feels like my shins are gonna explode. This is so heavy. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's be done before my bones break. We're gonna keep the shot rolling so you can tell that I'm actually carrying this. So now I'm just gonna show what's inside. Again. It's a weighted blanket and a bunch of weights, and then more weights down here. It is a lot of weights. I'm gonna go grab the scale and we're gonna weigh it, and then we'll be done. Is that seeable? That's 85 pounds. Feels so much heavier than that. Actually, it's like closer to 90, because I'm holding it with my hand to balance it. We'll call it 90 pounds, give or take 2 or 3 pounds. But I think if I carried anything more than this, it would not be safe to run with. And we're talking like indefinite running. I think I could hike with this pack for a while. Like, it would suck. So, I don't know.
How does that feel?
How does it feel to carry 90 pounds?
How does it feel that your carrying capacity is 90 pounds? Did you expect it was more?
I actually thought it was gonna be like 90 to 100. Got some insight. I feel like carrying too much wow, the sun just disappeared. I feel like I could carry 10 more pounds and not die, but it does feel like even with 90 pounds, running with it feels like if I like leaned over wrong, I could really hurt myself, or like if I slipped. But like, I do feel like if I were carrying like 1.5 times that weight, like the chances of me hurting myself while running are quite high, I feel like I could stand up with it, and I would be okay standing with it, but like putting it on even would be like without like two people like holding it to put it on. I feel like it would be like super dangerous. So I'm comfortable saying my carry too much to be able to run is 90, because like I could lift more, but I would hurt myself.
We'll be using the metric system for this, so let's convert those American freedom pounds to right and proper and scientific kilograms. First, we need to set some ground rules for estimating these values, because even though I tried as hard as I cannot put my Switch onto a scale and find the weight of my villager's inventory. First of all, we're going to ignore crafting recipes, because they're up to interpretation. Things could be used up, things could be in the item. For example, a notched golden apple could literally contain 8 cubic meters of gold, or the 8 cubic meters of gold could just be some method of calling down Minecraft's problematic creator himself and have him bless it with a gift of life. We are also going to ignore currency and other weightless things. Sure, you can carry millions of coins and arrows in RuneScape, but as far as I'm concerned, they are worth their weight in gold, which is 0. In order to calculate the mass of the contents of an inventory, you need to multiply 4 values together. The first 2 are to identify the mass of a single item. The mass of a single item is its volume times its density. We take that and we multiply that by the stack size. We get a value that I'm going to call its IDV. Its inventory density value. That's basically saying where density is how much matter you can fit into an object. Its inventory density is how much mass you can fit into a single inventory slot. And then finally, we're going to multiply those all together and get the total mass of the inventory. So sometimes, as I'm going through this, I will be using a volume value and a density value to calculate the mass. And sometimes I will just be using a mass value because I've used the computer to calculate it. Because either the shape was weird or I just had a model anyway. We're going to try to pick items that have the largest IDV, the largest inventory density value. Just like how when you're saying, I want the heaviest ball, you would say, I want it to be out of the densest material. If I want the heaviest inventory, I want it with the highest inventory density. The first game we're going to go through is Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now, I did all these tests and calculations earlier, and my understanding is that the most inventory dense item is the gold nugget. First thing we need to do is estimate the gold nugget's size. Now, fortunately, Nintendo has gifted us with a regulation American football, and if we laid that on a table next to the gold, I'm just kidding, there's a Switch in this game. Everyone measures against the Switch, I will measure against the Switch. The Switch is 100 millimeters tall. That's fortunate, easy number. I'm gonna guess that the nugget is about 20% taller than it, and that gives us a height of 120 millimeters. I was just gonna estimate its volume based on a sphere that can fit around the nugget, but I realized that I could do better. So I ended up deciding that I could just model it. And then once I decided I could just model it, I decided, well, let's clean up the model a little bit, and then we'll do a mass analysis using Fusion 360 in order to get an accurate mass value, assuming that the bit at the bottom is stone and the top is gold with a little root to the crystal part. And then at the end of it, after modeling it, I decided I was going to 3D print it, and then after 3D printing it, I decided, well, we may as well just paint it. So then, at the end of this long process, I had something that looked a little something like this. Given the fact the nugget has this very irregular shape, I cannot just run a little bit of math to calculate its volume as if it was a regular geometric shape. So instead, I ran it through Fusion and had it output a value. Now also this includes the fact that the base is stone, so we just have a mass value instead of needing to multiply volume times density. Even though we know the density of gold already, it's 19,300 kilograms per cubic meter. We know that each nugget has a mass of 6.231 kilograms. If we multiply the mass times the stack size, we get its inventory density. Now the stack size of a gold nugget is 30, and that stack size of 30 really contributes to its inventory density, whereas other things may be more massive. The lighthouse, for example, is quite large. You can't fit 30 of them in your inventory, and when you scale things together, you realize that if the lighthouse were hollow and not just solid stone, which, fun fact, lighthouses, not solid stone, they this is denser. We multiply that by the number of stacks. And even though you start the game with 20 stacks in your inventory, with pocket organization guides, you learn how to organize your pockets better and you can fit twice as much stuff in it, which brings us to 40. Multiplying all these values together gives us the total mass, which is 7,477 kilograms, or 7.5 metric tons. An elephant weighs about 6,000 kilograms. So just put that in perspective for yourself. That's a big elephant that a villager can fit in their pockets. It's kind of crazy. Our next game is Todd Howard's messy masterpiece, The Elder Scrolls V: Skyrim. My character, who I obviously created right after watching Thor Ragnarok for the 15th time, can carry 473 weight units. We have no idea what that means, but once again, the densest item involves gold. It's a gold ingot. A gold ingot is 1 weight unit, but there's very little to compare its volume to. So I just guessed. I made a model that matches its shape, but the overall volume is just how big I felt the bar should be in comparison to my character and comparison to me in real life. Because, unfortunately, all the scaling in Skyrim is kind of cartoonish. I did the same thing with the gold ingot that I did with my gold nugget, but fortunately, I don't have to 3D print an ingot. I can just make it out of foam. As you can see, due to the fact that there is acetone in spray paint, my ingot has the exact same ugly, lumpy finish that the ingot does in Skyrim. Volume. It's one of those! Each one of these bad boys can fit 17.6 kilograms in it. You only get 1 stack, but that stack can fit 473 of them. That's pretty good. Multiplying all these numbers together gets us 8. That's not any number. Putting all these numbers together gets us 8.3 metric tons, or just like a little bit more than a villager. That's it. But keep in mind, the Dovahkiin also doesn't utilize a backpack. Enter Stardew Valley, America's favorite game that pretends to be a nice, chill farming experience, but is actually about running home at 2 a.m. from the 2 a.m. night raids that will steal your money and return you home with a forged note. Farmers have access to backpack technology, and with the deluxe pack from Pierre's General Store, you have 36 inventory slots. That's 4 less than Animal Crossing, but where Animal Crossing has a limit of 30 nuggets per slot, Stardew has a limit of 999, and the dentist thing isn't gold nuggets, it's Iridium Bars. I have no way of estimating the size of these items, as Stardew offers no consistent scale, so I just 3D printed a little model of Iridium Bar as a visual aid, and I'm going to use the volume of the world's largest gold ingot as a stand-in for the actual volume of the item. I did this because the Iridium Bar is considerably larger than the other bars in the game. Also, I meant to paint this, but I ran out of time, and it didn't look contrasty enough on the whiteboard, so I just put Expo marker on it, and that was a mistake. It looks like a 6-year-old serial killer made it. Iridium is also significantly denser than gold, with a density of 22,560 kilograms per cubic meter, and the volume of the largest gold bar in the world is 0.01573 cubic meters. Multiplying all these together gives us a value of 12,800 metric tons. That's a lot of tons. That's 67 blue whales. That's worth $683 billion. That's the GDP of Switzerland. That's a lot of iridiums. There's someone knocking on my door. Who is it? Hi Todd Howard, how are you today? Yes, you're mad about Skyrim. What did I do wrong about Skyrim? I thought I did the The enchantments. Okay. And the enchantment loop. I'll go film a new bit, and then I'll come back and see if you're okay with it. Is that good? Are you happy with that, Todd? Okay, I'll be back. Don't go anywhere. Skyrim has 2 enchantments that increase your carry weight. One of them is appropriately called Fortify Carry Weight, which increases the strength with which you can hold things. And the other is Hidden Pockets, which somehow does the exact same thing. Not only that, but there's an exploit in the game that allows enchantments to get crazy strong, only being limited by the 32-bit signed integer value associated with it. The way you do this is simple. You make a ring with Fortify Alchemy, which allows you to make stronger potions. If you use those new potion skills to make a Fortify Enchanting Potion, you make even stronger rings. This loop is further enhanced by Fortify Restoration Potions, because for some dumb reason, Todd made his game bad and made Fortify Restoration Potions increase the power of your enchantments, which means the exploit speeds up immensely. I managed to get this to 1,333,674 weight units. And I couldn't get that any higher just because the game kept crashing with the power of my magic. I'm sure you can get this higher, but I had to make this video and I'd already spent 4 hours trying. Multiplying those together with the old Skyrim facts gives us a value of 23,526 metric tons, half the weight of the Titanic, or 123 blue whales. Oh yeah, that would also be worth $23 trillion, or the entire GDP of North America. And before you ask, Fortify Restoration Potions break the enchantments the same way that enchanting them with a stronger Fortify enchantment potion does. So there's no other way to get this number higher other than just creeping closer to the limit. Was that okay, Todd? Did you like that? Was that... Thank you, Todd. Can you put the sword away? I did what you wanted me to. Sheath that sword. Thanks, Todd. See you later. Next in my Steam library is Factorio, the game that takes all the mining and crafting from Minecraft and outsources it to robots. The densest thing you can find is uranium-238, aka depleted uranium. You can hold to 120 stacks with the Mark II power armor, and the uranium can stack up to 100. Let's say that each of these are about the volume of 2 human heads. It's kind of what it looks like. Multiplying all these numbers together gives us 1,140 metric tons? That's less than a tenth of what the farmer in Stardew Valley can carry. This is a game about creatively using heavy machinery. Surely there's something denser. Trains. As far as I can tell, locomotives have the highest IDV value of anything in the game. You can still fit 120 of these bad boys in your inventory, and you can stack 5 of them in a slot, which is significantly more than 100 uranium, because they weigh in the ballpark of 250 metric tons. Have you ever looked at a train and thought, boy, that sure does look heavy? And then you thought, I wonder if a villager from Animal Crossing can fit that in their pockets. They can't, because it's a train. That bad boy is 250 metric tons? That's a lot of metric tons. And then you could fit 5 of them in a spot. Also, I'm sure there are train nerds out there that are gonna look at the train from Factorio, and you're gonna be like, oh, that looks like more or less, or this looks more like this model of train. And listen, I respect you and I want your feedback, because legitimately, I was hoping it would be based on a real train and it wasn't. So I'm gonna need some help on that. Putting all this together, that's 600 locomotives. First of all, 600 locomotives. Think about that. Can Iron Man carry 600 locomotives? No, probably, maybe. He's dead. That bad boy is gonna add up to that many metric tons, 150,000. That's 790 blue whales. You ever seen a man suplex 800 blue whales at the same time? Factorio Boy can do it. I don't know what the main character Factorio is called. Factorio Boy is kind of what I decided to go with. Next in line is Terraria, or as I called it as a middle schooler, 2D Minecraft. This bad boy can hold 50 stacks, each of which can hold 999 things. And I know what you're saying, that doesn't sound like that much. That's just about what Stardew Valley could hold. But keep in mind that you can hold blocks, you can hold tiles in Terraria. And a tile in Terraria is 2 feet across, which looks a little bit like this. Ugh. Now I know what you're saying, but things in Terraria aren't cubes, they're tiles, they're 2-dimensional. Well, in my 3-dimensional universe, things need to have depth in order to have mass. So I'm just gonna call it a cube in terms of mass. I'm not gonna make a value judgment on the depth of this depthless world, but I'm gonna say that that's probably about the same as a cube. The densest thing you can hold in Terraria is platinum. Not quite as dense as iridium, but still denser than gold, which is quite an achievement. It's actually the 3rd densest element on the periodic table after iridium. Fun fact. A full inventory has the volume of, get this, 4.5 Olympic swimming pools. Filling that with platinum gives us 243,000 tons, 1,300 blue whales, or 3/4 of the Empire State Building. I know you may grow tired of these comparisons. However, there's something more meaningful, other than hearing a very large number, about hearing that the Terraria guy, the guy who's made of like 100 total pixels, can carry a skyscraper. Enough for the moment you've all been waiting for. Steve Minecraft. You know, that lovable guy made of like 6 cuboids. Ya boy is pretty strong. He's pretty swole for his voxelized self. Keep in mind, he has not just his 36 inventory slots, but each of those inventory slots can hold a shulker box. And each one of those shulker boxes can hold 27 inventory slots. And each one of those inventory slots can hold 64 items. And the densest thing, as you all know, is gold in Minecraft, because there's not iridium, osmium, or platinum, unfortunately. Shout out to osmium tools. That's gotta be fun. Anyways, this friggin' dude. First of all, let's just put these numbers up on the board again. Now, I know what you're thinking. Think a cubic meter isn't that big. You've seen a Minecraft block before. You know how big that is. Well, you don't, do you? Let me just take something out of the gremlin hole. Look at this. This is a cubic meter. It may not be coming across because I'm kind of a large fellow. But like, look at this. When you make your little dirt house, and the dirt house is only like 1 block big and it's 2 blocks tall, that's still a big house. Like, look, I'm a big dude. I'm like 6 feet tall. I can sit in it fine. It's so big. That's a lot of stuff. And look how many the boy can carry. That's too many things. I'm gonna keep this in frame so you guys know how tall it is. Steve Minecraft can carry, 1 second, the number's too big for me to remember. That's 1.2 million tons. 1.2 million tons. Do you wanna know how much that is? That's $69 trillion, 69 giggity trillion dollars. That's the GDP of the whole Earth in 2011. That's 6,300 blue whales. That's a fifth of the Great Pyramid of Giza.
How many blue whales are there on Earth?
There's like 25,000. There's 25,000 blue whales on Earth. So it's like not all the blue whales, but like we did sort of Thanos snap, like a lot of them. Is Thanos snap still relevant? I hope so. And so there we have it. The answer to my question of who is the strongest is probably, for some of you, unsurprisingly, Steve Minecraft. Let me draw a graph real fast of who's where on the chart. And there we go, that's my chart. Basically, here's the gist. We've got me up at the tippy top at 40 kilograms. I'm not bitter that I couldn't carry more than any of these video game characters. I feel vulnerable that the villager in Animal Crossing has 100 times, 200 times almost what I can carry. But that I'm not self-conscious about that. The next one, so it's me. I am the worst. Okay, yeah, there's me, and then there's Animal Crossing, then there's Stardew, and then Skyrim, Factorio, Terraria, Minecraft. That's what we got here today. That's it in a standard view, where the scale is consistent. But if we change it to logarithmic, we can see that I'm still not on the chart, because I can hold 0.5% of what a villager can carry, and that just carries down the list. I'm not sensitive about it. Should I be sensitive about it? No, really, no, because I need to know if I need to be sensitive about it.